Ladies and gentlemen, Niall Horan has a new album. If that isn't a reason to get the fuck up, I don't know what is. The new album is called The Show. I'm really excited for this. I ride hard for my guy Niall, as hard as anyone rides. Heartbreak Weather, probably one of my three. I'd say Heartbreak Weather, Folklore, and Plastic Hearts were my three favorite projects that came from 2020. Flicker is another immaculate project up and down. The thing about Niall is that Niall doesn't write bad songs. He's just kind of like a machine as far as making these really great songs over and over and over again. You can just go from start to finish from Niall's two albums and really find yourself fully engulfed in those albums, not wanting to skip anything that's happening. It's a hard thing to pull off. It's a real hard thing to pull off. And Niall's just, I think, one of the best songwriters we've got right now. Speaking of, these bad boys right here. I mean, yeah, these two projects up and down. This is just one of the best song makers that we have right now. You know, if you're a Niall fan, you know what happened with Heartbreak Weather and how it was released at the literal worst time in the history of probably releasing an album. I think he dropped it like right on the face of the pandemic. But now he's got this third project out and he's got the tour announced already. And it's just got to feel so good to have gotten to this point, somewhat redemptive. And yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready to just ingrain myself into this new project from this Irish guitar and piano playing songwriting genius. As always, my full, completely uncut reaction to this album, as well as every other album I've ever reacted to and like a ton of other content, is on my Patreon. Links in the description down below. All right, guys, it's Niall Horan time. I really am really excited. The thing about Niall is just like it's pretty ridiculous. Like he seems truly incapable of writing a bad song. I mean, it really has come to that point in his career. The funny thing is, my two least favorite Niall Horan songs are his two biggest songs, his two biggest singles, Slow Hands and Nice to Meet You. And those are still good songs. It's just like if I'm doing an entire discography rank, he just doesn't stop with like great songs. San Francisco, Dear Patience, two of my favorite songs to come out of 2020. Fire Away, Too Much to Ask. I mean, two of my favorite songs to come out of whatever year Flicker came out. Was it 2017? I mean, the dude just doesn't stop, man. Like it's not even like, it'll be the non-singles that end up being some of the best songs you've heard in years. So yeah, I've definitely got expectations with all that being said. So I have heard Heaven. I listened to it in full one time, but he also dropped like a million teasers in all different sorts of ways. It was pretty much impossible to not have essentially heard the song before it even already came out. So I was like, even when I do get to the reaction, it's still going to be where I've pretty much heard it. So I pretty much might as well give it a listen. Gave it one listen, loved it. It'll be the only, I didn't listen to the other single, Meltdown, and everything else would be obviously completely brand new to me. So let's do this thing, guys. I'm getting like, I'm a little nervous. This is one of my faves. This is one of my faves, guys. It always feels like a bit of a personal experience for me personally when I sit down and give you guys this content, one of these videos, when it involves one of my faves, particularly like one of my faves that comes prior to me starting the channel, and this is one of those guys. It's also the first time I've gotten a Niall album since I've had the channel, so it's the first time we get to experience that together, and I just can't emphasize enough how big a fan that I am. All right, Heaven.
Strange light revolves around you. You float across the room. Your touch is made of something.
This is so gnarly, and the song is so light at the same time, obviously with the Heaven implication. But this was cool because I felt like I had heard so much of the song, like the God only knows where this could go, like that whole part before the song had even come out because of how much he teased it. But then when I got the actual song and I had heard this part, I was like, oh wait, there's still like a lot left that we haven't heard, and this is actually pretty sick. So I appreciated like just getting this part here.
I believe I could die in your kiss. No, it doesn't get
He's so romantic. He's a romantic. I like those little vocals that he's doing back there, because it kind of is heaven, like a heaven laden vocal, which just makes sense with the title of the song and the lyrics of the song as well. And he's so good with these singles, and I mentioned before, like even my least favorite Niall songs are the ones that were the big singles, like the Slow Hands from the first album and the Nice to Meet You from the second. But it doesn't take away from like how great he is at making these. I mean, Slow Hands is one of the biggest songs of that year, and I mean that just goes to show you like this guy is just so good at what he does. To the point now where I haven't heard a single song from the rest of this album. That was the one that I had heard, so the real nerves are kicking in now. I can feel a shift in my body happening, a little uneasy because I don't know what to expect. I just know it's Niall. I know it's Niall and he knows what he's doing, and I trust him. All right, If You Leave Me, track 2. It's incredible to shift from Flicker, because nothing like this is on Flicker. But as you get to Heartbreak Weather, there's a little bit like this stuff starts to sound a little bit more like this. And now that we're in this era, like, the advancement in his music and the sound, and it's just like it's so palatable. I feel like it's just so obvious, and it's so cool too because you get such different sounds as you go album to album. It's like one of my favorite parts about him. Yeah. Oh, he's so. Oh, that's so good. Come on, Niall. Man, this is tight. Man, that right there is like, oh man, it's so good. This whole part right here, the way that he's cutting with the words is so catchy, and there's like a lightness and an airiness to his voice too that lends itself so well to this sound. Right here. There's like Michael Jackson in there. There's like some Jonas Brothers in there. There's like a whole bunch of different influences, even like a touch of Charlie Puth in there. But at the same time, it's still so Niall, and that's my favorite part. Is that like even when he does draw an inspiration or like sound from whoever it might be, it's still like so consistent with just like him being a great songwriter. His songs are so tight. They're so tightly produced. They're so well written. And this is another perfect example of that. If You Leave Me. Great start, even though Heaven was a great start, but I'd heard that one. All right, Meltdown was the other single. And of course, like classic, like love, longing, Niall too in that song with what he's talking about, of course. Pretty straightforward what he's talking about. It reminded me of Nice to Meet You a little bit in the lyrics and like this sort of longing for this person that you haven't known too long, but you just have fallen down so bad for them that, you know, you kind of like can't handle the thought of not having them. Yeah, he's just really good at that angsty feel. Meltdown, track 3.
Talking to yourself in the bathroom, losing your mind in the mirror like you have to. Screaming in your car, in the driveway, spinning out, think your life's going sideways.
Ooh.
One broken glass turns to total collapse. Just know this too shall pass. I'm telling you now.
Man, that's so real though. Like, oh, this whole series of events is so real because he's describing a meltdown. The song's called Meltdown, and he's describing a meltdown. He's describing like the things that happen when that meltdown comes, and when that meltdown is imminent as well. Because like talking to yourself in the bathroom, losing your mind in the mirror, like you have to. Like when you are melting down, it's almost like you have no choice. You've just already gotten there. Screaming in your car, like just be another meltdown situation. You're just in your car screaming. You don't even know how you got here. It's just happening. One broken glass turns to total collapse. I love this line because it just takes that one thing to happen for the snap to really happen, right? Like you break, like you drop a glass and it shatters, and that's it. You were already on the verge, you were on the edge already, but that's all it took, and now it's just over. Now you're just gonna be in a ball on the floor, like whether it's sobbing fucking tears or whatever it is. Like you're just a disaster at this point, and you've hit that meltdown point. And it's like such a human thing, and I appreciate him humanizing it too in a song like this, and saying like it shall pass. In the moment, you're not thinking like this shall pass because you're so overwhelmed, but it'll pass. And it's just a good reminder in a song that's also upbeat so far, interestingly enough. This song is meant to be played live. It's gonna be one that you hear the whole crowd singing along to, like coming together, like, hey, we can all make it through our shit, especially just in this moment while we sing this song together. That's what those gang vocals are for. It's for a crowd to sing. Through vocals. Now playing with some vocal runs back there. I see you, King. I see you with the vocal development, the growth, man. All right, let's go to Never Grow Up, track 4. Oh. Yeah. Yes, sir. Okay. Good start. Talking over coffee, but we say nothing. Both of us forgetting how we once were friends in another life. Never wanna go to sleep, feeling like an ocean's in between our sheets. Hold up, is this the Fire Away? Is this the Fire Away on the album? Is this the Fire? Come on, give it to me, Niall. Now we once were friends in another life. I hope we still dance like we're falling in love. Hope we still drink like we're back in the pub. Hope we grow old, but we never grow up. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Hope we grow old, but we never grow up. This is lovely. Oh, I like this a lot. Not with you, yeah, it all makes sense. Never giving up on our innocence. Every single night's on fire when we're turning out the lights. You never want to lose that. I mean, he literally just said it in that fire. You never want to lose that fire and that flame. And all these references are indicating that specifically. This is what I mean, man. When I talked about the songs I was talking about before, like Fire Away, and San Francisco and Dear Patience. These are some of the best songs I've ever heard in my life. And they're just album tracks. They just are out, like they just were put on an album, never pushed as like singles or anything like that. They just exist in the world for people to come across them, right? Which to me is mind-blowing because they're so good. They're that good. If You Leave Me and Never Grow Up are already giving me those vibes immediately, like right off the bat. We're not even halfway through the album. The singles are Heaven and Meltdown, but If You Leave Me and Never Grow Up to me are the tracks that I'm going to be coming back to over and over again on this project. And this is what I mean by this guy not making bad songs, because he just fills his albums with album tracks that have so much repeat value and re-listenability. He's just so good, man. I could just talk about him all day in the best ways, and I probably will keep doing that. This is awesome. God, it gets right into you. Just dance to it too, like nice and romantic like. I love good music, man. That's what this is. That reminds me of Bend the Rules just a little bit. Which is good, man. Draw from Heartbreak Weather as much as you can because it's an immaculate project. Yeah, that's my favorite one so far. So far, that's my favorite one. Just like a really nice romantic song about like holding on to the flame, and despite like how deep into the relationship you are, like just holding on to the things that kept the two of you. And the sort of innocence, but like romance a lot. Keeping it alive and like keeping that youthfulness. That's when I say innocence, I mean youthfulness as well, like keeping that youthfulness to the spirit of your relationship. That's my favorite song so far. It's so like he's not doing too much at any point. It's also flowy and easygoing and kind of laid back and reserved, but it still fills you with these goosebumps, man. It's so good. All right, let's move on somehow to the show.
Life is like a board game some of the time.
Lana Del Rey's entered the building.
Mistakes and heartbreaks and no cry. Hold tight, get ready for the ride. If everything was easy, nothing ever broke. If everything was simple, how would we know? How to fix your tears, how to fake a show, how to paint a smile, yeah, how would we know?
Ooh.
How could we have it though?
Whoa, that's
Life is like a dance floor some of the time.
Niall just in this topic is interesting. Hold tight, get ready for the ride. If everything was easy, nothing was ever broken. If everything was simple, how would we know? How to fix your tears, how to fake a show, how to paint a smile. Yeah, how would we know? I mean, the show, that's the track title, is indicating putting on a show for the world because we got all this shit going on. We're out there painting a smile on, and think of a clown in that way, right? And then that makes me think of Tears of a Clown as well. Get ready for the ride. You know, nothing's easy and everything's broken. Nothing simple. Just kind of take all his words and kind of flip them because that's how he means them. Now getting into the mindset and diving into into the human mindset and human psyche and getting into some real mental health stuff, you could even say. I mean, we'll keep going on the track and see where it goes, but it's not a total surprise because he's already done it on Meltdown. I mean, Meltdown is completely talking about some of these topics here. And he's getting right back into it on the show, and I'd love to hear Niall talk about these things and reflect so openly and kind of be such a comfort and safe space for his audience as well, which he's always been. But when you start talking about this kind of stuff, it takes it to another level. So I appreciate that from him a ton.
Dancing with the stars, oh, every night. Gravity comes and wraps her arms around you again. It's all fun and games until the party ends.
Yeah.
Hold tight, get ready for the ride.
Life is like a dance floor some of the time. Dancing with the stars, every night. So like in your dreams, I'm guessing. Because you're at stars, it's nighttime. And at night is in your dreams is when you get to dance. But then gravity comes and wraps its arms up around you again. So you've woken up. And it's time for you to get up and face reality, the reality of life. It's all fun and games until the party ends. That party is over. That dance floor party you were having was all in your dreams, and it's over when you wake up, and then you gotta face reality. You gotta face the ride. You gotta get back on the ride, which is life. Wake up and fucking deal with a meltdown, potentially. And get up and put that fake smile on, right? What he was talking about earlier. Paints a smile, fake your show. Oh man, Niall, this is great writing. This is great writing and some doubles here as well with the writing and a lot to really dive into here. I really appreciate this a lot. I was so impressed with him because, a lot of his, again, and I brought up Fire Away several times. It's a good example of him bringing up, the human mind and the things that we deal with as people. And Dear Patience is another amazing example of that, as like this self-dialogue back and forth piece of conversating with yourself and your own patience. It's just a genius song if you haven't heard it. But on this album, more than ever, he is getting into the human mind and experience. And you can tell he's been going through a lot of things of his own. He's been surrounded by people who have been going through things and attempting to be like a safe space for people, clearly. And continues to do that with these songs, and I'm just so proud of him as a songwriter and as a human being more than anything to really get to that point where he can write these kinds of songs, because this is just like a real different level for him compared to some of the stuff I've heard before, where it's mostly more so dealing with areas of romance and heartbreak. But here we're getting more into that human mind and experience and, mental health. And he's doing a real great job of it, as someone that takes that stuff real seriously here. As if you've been listening to me for any amount of time. All right. You Could Start a Cult, track 6. Something tells me we're getting back into the romance.
Who I'll be and who I am. You can have it all, baby. You could start a cult. See, I'll follow you till there's no tomorrow. I'll follow you till there's no tomorrow. I'll follow. You could start a war too.
The power this person has over him.
To wake up by your side is all I want to do.
Yeah. I mean, this is what any person that longs to be longed for by anybody in particular, this is exactly pretty much how they long to be longed for. Like, if you have somebody in your life that is an admirer of you, or that's your partner, if you're partnered with anybody, this is kind of like an ideal way to be viewed by that person. So just him putting it into more very quite romantic words is no surprise. And I love the simplicity of this, man. Literally just got into the studio with a guitar and his vocal and nothing else. Nothing else. A harmonica. Oh yeah. What's the song? This Town is what this was reminding me of until a harmonica popped in. I like this choice. I like the choice, man. It just adds so much more beauty to the song, and that's the whole point, right? Is he finds this person to be just beyond beautiful. He's just obsessed with the human that this person is, and when you add so much more beauty to the sound of the song, it further drives that point home. I really like that, man. It's gonna be. I feel like that's gonna be a big grower too, where you're gonna have a hard time not enjoying it more and more every single time. Because what's not to like about it? It's just so bare bones, like I said, guitar, vocal, and a little harmonica piece, and then a nice piano piece at the end. It's nice. All right, Save My Life, track 7. This song here, when he really goes for it, he nails that Heartbreak Weather, right? The title track from the last album. When he really goes for this sound, he really captures that old school sound mixed with the modern sound that he's also so good at. He's really good at that. Saxophone solo. I love that saxophone, man. It's so good. I appreciate just how the effort he made to make this such a different sounding album. There's like You Could Start a Cult is such a different sounding song. Save My Life is such a different sounding. The songs sound so different from one another, but they also sound so different from stuff he's done in the past. But they're also like this nice combination of things he's done in the past while not completely being those things at the same time. Lyrically, with songs like Meltdown and The Show, with the stuff he's talking about, it's so different from what he's done in the past. And again, we're 7 tracks in and everything's so different. I just appreciate the concerted effort to do all of that and to make it such a different project. It's just, again, no surprise from just an incredible songwriter. On a Night Like Tonight is track 8. Let's jump into it, guys.
Your summer skin pressed on mine, falling like rain, rippling on by.
What? That's such a cool rippling on by. That's so cool what he just did.
Wanting your summer skin pressed on mine, falling like rain, rippling on by.
It's cool.
Supermoon, watch it dance in your eyes. A wildest of dreams, taking on a new life.
This is a really cool rhyme scheme. Yeah.
Innocent kisses, now hearts on fire. Got me so high, walking on the wire.
This is good. Heaven, You Could Start a Cult is perfect example. This song on A Night Like Tonight, perfect example. When he puts that person on a pedestal, he's so good at writing those songs and just making it just really romantic and putting it in a way that's like not, you're not thinking anything other than, I wish someone would view me in this light. You know, I wish someone wrote a song like this about me. And it's the only place you can really go. Really positive way to go about writing music, and really romantic way to go about writing music, obviously, too, because some of the lyrics in here, too, like, want to know what your loving tastes like, want your summer skin rubbing up on mine. And the rhyming in this song is so good. It's just, again, another groovy track. I like this one a lot. Oh, that right there. Just a light, airy feeling that he gives you in songs like this. One of my favorites on the album, definitely. On my list of favorites that I'll get to at the end. Speaking of the end, we're almost there, sadly. Ooh.
Can you feel what's beneath? Is it stone cold under your feet? Are you numb? Can you touch? So when you feel there's nothing left, oh, there's still a heart beating in your chest. And when you're running from the flood, oh, you've got nowhere left to run. It's just science.
Oh my God.
Don't let it break you down. It's okay, 'cause you're not alone.
Wow.
You can hide, you will love. You'll have your days in the sun.
Sorry, I'm starting the whole song over. The whole thing. Another one? So we have Meltdown, the show, and this, which is probably the best one out of the three of them. I can't believe this exists. This is incredible.
Can you feel, is the silence a little too much? And all you wanna do is break out. So when you feel there's nothing left, oh, there's still a heart beating in your chest. When you feel you're sinking, overthinking time is crashing down. Oh, if you need somebody, the world's too heavy to shine. It's not too late now. It's just science. Don't let it break you down. It's just science. Don't let it scare you now.
This is that song is. I didn't think we would get another Meltdown or the show, let alone think that those songs would be topped. And I think that those songs were topped. First of all, the writing on this track to give so many different examples of what it feels like to feel so alone, to feel incredibly overwhelmed, to have feelings of anxiety, and to be able to define these things as science, because that's how our bodies work, that's how the brain works, and to just reassure somebody with one simple word, like, hey, it's just science, and letting somebody know, like, it's going to be all right. You're going to be okay. The lyrics alone aren't, and they're almost enough just to get the job done. But he adds these beautiful instrumentals, and his voice, man, his voice on this track is just this complete embodiment of healing and comfort and this there for you experience. It makes the song this experience that is a completely healing experience, and I can't believe that that's what we got. I saw a track called Science, and I didn't think that's what we were going to get into, but it just makes the song that much smarter. It's maybe my favorite on the whole album, quite possibly, which is saying a lot because I've got a list of heavy hitter favorites here so far. That's an incredible. I want to play it again. Fuck it. It's a hug. It's a big warm hug. The song.
Can you feel what's beneath?
That's so good. Oh my gosh.
Is the silence a little too much? And all you wanna do is break out. When you feel there's nothing left, oh, there's still a heart beating in your chest.
You still got that.
When you're running from the flood, oh, you've got nowhere left to run.
That overwhelming feeling of the flood, feeling like it's gonna take you over. Such great lyrics because the flood gets you. The flood ends up getting you. You're overwhelmed. You're sinking in that flood. Now you're overthinking. It's all coming at you at the same time, and you're feeling these incredibly overwhelming feelings. But hey, just this reminder, it's just science. It's going to be okay afterwards. I promise you it's going to be okay. It doesn't make it less difficult what you're going through. I think the song does a good job, too, to remind you of that. With the comfort that it provides, because you're still completely validated in these feelings. They still exist and you're still going through them, but it's more so about the reassurance that it'll pass more than anything.
It's just science. Don't let it break you down.
Man, I could go for a fourth listen. I could do it. Don't tempt me, guys. All right, I won't put you guys through it again. Let's go through track 10, Must Be Love. I don't want to move on. It's such a good song.
I'm a specialist at overthinking everything. I'll tell you all about it if you have the time.
Okay, overthinking Niall. First of all, starting off a song with that line, I'm a specialist at overthinking everything. I'll tell you all about it if you have the time. Starting off a song like that really sets the tone.
Just keep it simple and follow my heart.
It's tough.
Got a PhD and always running away.
Oh. I need a couple more tracks. This is not enough. I'm sorry. I'm being selfish. I need a couple more tracks. 10 tracks just feels criminal from such an amazing artist. But I'm sure he's going to give us some bonus tracks at some point where that should have been on the album in the first place. Justice for Mirrors, Justice for the Tide, Justice for Dress, Justice for Nothing. I don't know why he does this, where he like he treats these bonus tracks like scraps when they're literally just as good, if not better than some of the tracks on these albums. When your bonus tracks hit the way your album tracks do, that's how you know that you're like one of those artists, and he's one of those artists. I'll be honest though, the last track, I don't know. Well, it might need a few more listens. I like the verses, and I like the lyrics in the verses a lot. I love the being a specialist and like self-damaging and having a PhD and like the overthinking and all that like really clever songwriting. I like the way they sound, but the chorus, I don't know, might need some more listens to fully assess. We'll see. I mean, it's probably gonna end up growing on me because it's Niall, and it's just like the way he writes has this way of these songs have a way of just growing on you. So, but that's not the biggest takeaway. The biggest takeaway is that he is giving me a full project that is just another complete mastery of songwriting and song making. I mean, the dude is a song maker on another level. This album does an incredible job of changing its dynamic so often you feel like you are never listening to anything that sounds like what you were listening to before at any point. And I love albums that do that so much. At the same time, it's super cohesive because he's either in his romantic bag, putting this person on a pedestal in the most lovely and romantic way, or he's diving into the mind and mental health and showing how much he's grown as a songwriter and as a person and a human being, and showing that he's had experiences and that he's been going through things as well, and that he's just got additional perspective on life, and he's wanted to share that with us. And I, as someone who takes mental health so seriously and advocates for it in every opportunity that I can, I just cannot be more proud and more impressed with what he was able to do on some of these tracks here with that subject matter. It's a real serious subject matter, and the way he was able to walk that line so well was just really impressive. There's 10 tracks here. I try and keep my faves that I give you guys to half. I try and give you my favorite half so that you guys really know which ones, because I could just tell you that I love them all. But I want to give you guys the ones that really came at me and really affected me in a profound way. I'll give you those half. I'll give you that top 5. If You Leave Me, Never Grow Up, The Show, On a Night Like Tonight, and Science. Those are my top 5 on this album. I'm not even going to give you an order, although if you watch me listen to Science, you probably a little bit of a spoiler as to which is probably my favorite on the whole album. But I got to go back and listen to these songs because if You Leave Me was so long ago, but I remember that song just completely taking my body over. Never Grow Up did something special to me. The Show and the subject matter of that was incredibly important. And on a Night Like Tonight is a groovy ass jam, man. And then Science is just Science. Science is not going to be taken over. Science is my new dear Patience. Yeah, shout out to Niall, our mental health king, our romance king, and our songwriting king. Give this man all his flowers, because he continues to write these flawless albums, these albums that don't have skips in them, and I feel like he just deserves more credit for that as one of the most important artists of our generation right now. Yes, needs to be said. Niall Horan's one of the most important artists and songwriters of this generation right now, and he just proved it again with The Show. I'm such a fan, and I can't wait to go listen to this album a whole bunch more times. Thanks for hanging out with me, guys. Appreciate you. Noah Kahan, Stick Season. What an absolutely affecting, thoughtful project from this gentleman, Noah Kahan, that, to be honest, I'm still absorbing to this very day. It wasn't that long ago that I listened to it, and because it is so thoughtful and provoking, and there is so much depth to the project, I'm still absorbing to this very moment. And having said that, I've been informed that he's followed up his incredibly genuine piece of art with some extra tracks here. And shout out to everyone that has informed me, because now we can dive on into these few bonus tracks, I guess we'll call them here. I'm all for them. Some more sticks for us all. And yeah, I say we jump into these tracks. We'll start with Your Needs, My Needs. Acoustic King.
Oh well, who is I? Who is I to watch you with?
Mm-hmm.
You ain't gotta tell me what it means. Trace the outlines of your dreams. You'll always be a flower on my skin.
So the visuals already, trace the outlines of your dreams. You'll always be, and then the whole who was I to watch you wilt, and he mentions a flower a couple lines later, but you'll always be a flower on my skin. I mean, trace the outlines of your dreams. Maybe he's tracing that flower. I don't know, and that's related to this person's dreams. But I would guess that he's got a tattoo, a flower tattoo that's related to this person somehow, and he can literally trace the flower on his skin. more flowers. Shout out to Team Tattoo Flowers, but I could sit here and trace my own, and I have meaning for my own, and I can certainly envision the meaning of my own as I sit here and trace it. So like I can relate to that if that's what he's talking about, unless there's literally like a flower on his skin that he's tracing. I mean, either way, I love that it's so thought provoking, and that's what I said about sixth season starting off this video here, is that I'm still absorbing this project very much because of all of the provocation of thought that he allows the listener to have. Just off of many listens, it's still like something I think about often as I'm listening, like, oh wait, no, maybe he meant this in orange juice, like, you know, like it's just what he did is with this project is just such an accomplishment, and he's doing it already. A couple lines here, he's doing it already.
Howling like dogs in the light of the moon, holding our breath after 1:32.
That's so specific.
You asked me why I wasn't saying a word. I'm naming the stars in the sky after you.
What a romantic.
It was a work of art. That's the hardest part. Spiral out, try and fold. See a friend, see a ghost. Bitter brain, always drunk. Rail thin, sold off. Subtle change, shorter days.
Wow.
Rail thin, sold off. Subtle change, shorter days. Dead away. Your life, your dreams, your mind, your needs.
Bro, where was this song on the original? Are you joking? What? First of all, he didn't do anything like that vocally in the original project, and yet the original project's so good without it. And now he just adds this as like dessert, essentially, even though it's a sad dessert. I mean, we all cry and eat our cake sometimes, and that's pretty much what's happening here. I mean, the references that kind of exist in the past, it feels like, where he's setting the stage in a particular scenario, talking about howling like dogs in the light of the moon. So they're like, and it's the middle of the night, because he references a time, holding our breath after 1:32. That's got to be so specific, and I love that specificity in his writing, because it really makes you think about scenarios and like, well, why are you holding your breath after 1:32? Is this like a particular ritual for you and someone else, which just aids in more of a romantic situation for these two people. Ask me why I wasn't saying a word. I'm naming the stars in the sky after you. Well, that certainly would reference a bit of romance there, right? I was a work of art. I think he called this person a work of art earlier. Yeah, you were a work of art, referencing the flower. The flower. I love that. You'll always be a flower on my skin. Trace the outlines of your dreams. And that's my favorite line on the whole song. It's got to be, actually. But I love that we're talking about this scenario that you're envisioning so specifically. Like, they're howling at the moon, holding their breath at 1:32 for whatever particular reason that's personal between the two of them. He's naming the stars in the sky, and not saying much, because he's probably just completely head over heels enthralled with this person. He was a work of art. He compliments himself. Like, him in that moment was him at the height of who he felt like his potential as a human being, who he could be. But that's the hardest part, is the fact that you reflect on these scenarios and you see this great version of yourself, but you've spiraled. And he says it himself. He spiraled out. He's just barely floating now. To see a friend, to see a ghost, it feels like he's calling himself a bit of a ghost at this point. Bitter-brained, always drunk, on Zoloft, subtle change, shorter days, dead weight's a tough line. So I just... Man, for him to write such a different song from all the other songs that were already on Stick Season, but still have it feel like it's completely a part of this album, makes me so much more excited to get into the next few tracks on this project. I mean, because I'm honestly, I think that by the time I'm done with this, I'm only going to look at this as a full project. You know, I'm not a fan of bonus tracks, but when it's like way after the fact, like this is I'm assuming stuff that has been written more recently, all I am is grateful. It's a gift. That is a great fucking start. I want to spend some time on that one, man, because that trace your dreams, the flower on my oh man, Noah. All right, let's go to the next one somehow. Dial Drunk.
Remembering, I promise to forget you now. But it's raining and I'm calling drunk. And my medicine is drowning your perspective out.
Oh.
So I ain't taking any fault. The man I used to be.
There it is, man. There it is. Am I half the man I used to be? He just talked about this on your needs, my needs. He talked about being less of a man than he was before. He's essentially a ghost now, and it's sad to him. Man, this line, my medicine's drowning your perspective out. I feel him. Because sometimes you can be so, you take your medicine because you psychologist says like this is what you need to take, and it's all part of the journey of self-help, right? But at the same time, it can be a detriment because it's an overwhelming process, particularly at the start. But even when there are good times of growth and you can feel it working along with the work, because medicine's never enough on its own. You have to do the work that accompanies it. And speak from experience and current experience, there are absolutely times where it's all kind of like overwhelming, and I don't use that word lightly. It really is overwhelming, and it drowns everything else out around you, and you can only really live in your own perspective in certain times, and that's a tough thing to battle with. That, what a line, man. It's raining, I'm calling drunk. I remember I promised to forget you. I promised, but he completely went back on that promise. So all he can do is live in his perspective in this moment, because that's all he's got. His perspective is that he's drunk and he's calling them, and he's, on his medicine, and it's just a lot going through his body and his mind right now, man. It's coursing through, and the liquor's coursing through as well, right? Because he's drunk. Damn, Noah. Damn, man. I appreciate your honesty so much. It's just to get this kind of honesty in songwriting, and so deliberately specific and cutthroat from his own perspective, no pun intended. Just the specificity of it all is not so, like, there's so many innuendos nowadays, which I appreciate as much as anybody, like entendres and hidden messages in these songs, like great songwriters like Lana Del Rey and Taylor Swift, right? Who I appreciate endlessly. You guys know this. But when you get this version of songwriting where it's just like, my medicine's drowning your perspective out, like, you can't misunderstand that in any way, really. Like, it's raining, I'm calling you drunk. I'm half the man I used to be. You heard the last track, right? Well, here's me repeating that. I just have so much appreciation for that songwriting. I'm so glad he dropped these songs, and we get to stand over Noah a little bit more here.
Are you proud of all the punches that I've thrown in the name of someone I no longer know?
Not that person anymore.
For the shame of being young, drunk, and alone.
Yeah.
Traffic lights and the transmitter radio. I don't like it when they threw me in the car. I gave your name as my emergency phone call. Honey, yeah. Ring and ring, even the cops thought you were wrong for hanging up. I died drunk, I'll die for you.
Oh my God. So this is the direct reference to when he was in that accident, right? And it's orange juice, I believe. And in that, man, he's just like the part 2 to that. He's diving more into the story here, and he's talking about his perspective, because a lot of that song was his friend's perspective, not his friend's perspective, but his perspective for his friend. And this is like totally his, and involving this person that from his past, where this old flame, and he gives the cops their, like, even though he's supposed to be forgetting them and moving on from them, and clearly some time has passed, he gives the cops their number as the emergency contact, because he just got into an accident, so they're going to call them, because it's like an in the moment thing. They have to do it. And him referencing the transmitter radio is as much a giveaway as what the situation is as anything. Even the cops thought you were wrong for hanging up. That's how, like, And that's how scorned the relationship is that they call this person, they answer, and they probably tell them what's going on, and they hang up, even though Noah's been in a bad accident or something bad happened. That's how you know that like shit is not good between you two. I die a drunk, I'll die a drunk, I'll die for you. I mean, he's just really going through it in this moment. And I appreciate him referencing that he was younger too. The shame of being young, drunk, and alone. It kind of puts my medicine is drowning your perspective out into more perspective too, because him being a little bit younger and probably being earlier on in the medicine and trying to sort himself out. I mean, being half the man he is now. I mean, this is such a story. This whole thing is such a story, man. I love how it ties into the project too. I'll die a drunk, I'll die. That's so good.
Sure to slip the call. I'll give you my blood alcohol, or off with all the burnouts in the cell. Change my faith, I'll praise the flag. Wait, I swear she'll call me back. Son, are you a danger to yourself?
Sounds like it.
Give you my blood alcohol, or off with all the burnouts in the cell. Change my faith, I'll kiss the bass. Wait, I swear she'll call me back. Son, why do you do this to yourself? I ain't proud of all the punches that I've thrown in the name of someone I don't know. For the shame of being drunk alone.
Yeah, this is so good.
I die drunk, I die for you.
This is so honest, man. Like, Noah doesn't give you any opportunity to think otherwise about what the song's about or what he could be talking about. He says, no, listen to me. This is what happened. Here you go. I'm going to just spill and share this. I bet he probably had these thoughts and feelings when he wrote the original album. Maybe after the fact he said, no, I should have shared this on the original. I'm going to go ahead and share it now. Because this is the type of stuff that probably bites and eats at you. That's an incredible, man, that is so good. This is off to such a good start, and it just feels like it just feels like an extension of the album. All right, Paul Revere, track 17. I kind of want to listen to Die Drunk again. Who's Paul Revere? Midnight Rider. He rode to Portsmouth, New Hampshire, 50 miles north of Boston, to warn locals there of an impending seizure. Okay, quick history lesson. Thanks, Noah.
Their license plates live free or die, but it just ain't that simple. It never was. We'll drink to New Year's, then they'll leave me to clean up. One day I'm gonna cut it clear, ride like Paul Revere, and when they ask me who I am, I'll say I'm not from around here.
Leaving behind. Oh, his self harmonies. I love that slide into the falsetto. I love the instrumental on this song, and I love his voice, man. His voice, he's like doing some new things with his voice on these bonus tracks. This song reminds me a little bit of The View Between Villages, as far as like it's where it's coming from.
The world makes sense behind the chain link fence. If I could leave, I would have already left. But I'm in my car and I see the art.
I love his voice in that song and the instruments in this song and the clearly live instruments as well. It's a song that feels like it's about being stuck in place and hoping and longing for the day where you're not feeling so attached to this place that you're from. I love the specificity of the license plate and that like indicating the specific location of where he's from, and the way he just adds little lines like that to these songs that just add so much imagery and puts you in a place setting is so impressive. Okay, No Complaints, track 18.
And that's the same as having something. I get mad at nothing, blame my dad for something. I pull no punches, then feel bad for months. Thought I was raised better, tried to fake better, tried to blame weather and escape better. Hope the skin heals where the pain enters.
Oh man.
But I finally got showed up. I said a time the night showed up. Now the weight of the world ain't so bad.
Wow. Is he like just showing up for life? Tried to fake better, tried to like just blaming everything else, blaming his dad, blaming the weather, trying to escape your problems. Hope the skin heals. I love the hope the skin heals where the pain enters. But I finally got sewed up where that pain entered. So I'm sort of like addressing my issues now and fixing this problem to face things head on. And that's I set a time I showed up. I showed up for myself.
Got a paper and pen and a page with no space. I filled the hole in my head with prescription medication and forgot how to cry. Who am I to complain?
I got a paper and pen and a page with no space. I'm trying to jot these things down. I'm trying to feel. You know, I'm trying to address the issues with myself, but there's no more space left on this page. I've got the pen. I'm trying here, but there's nothing left. There's nowhere left for me to write, and I fill the hole in my head with prescription. I'm trying here. The small hairs that are on my arms are fully raised right now.
Makes the rain different, makes the just escapes different and invades vision. Makes the rain different, makes the news boring and my rage distant. Yes, I'm young and living dreams, in love with being noticed and afraid of being seen.
Okay, now let's talk about these lines. This is post filling the hole in his head with prescription medication. Now he's forgetting how to cry, sort of an absence of even of emotion now. Now that's the point we've reached, which is not the solution. Now the pain's different. It's still there, just escapes differently, and it sounds like it's like this numb is where he's at. It sounds like, because he says the rage is distant, the news is boring. Like you just picture him not feeling anything. It just escapes different. It evades vision, makes the rain different. I love that rhyme scheme too. It escapes different, makes the rain different, my rage distant.
Finally got showed up, said a time the night showed up.
Fix the hole.
The weight of the world ain't that bad. I saw the ending look just like the middle. Got a paper and pen and a page with no space.
Man, he leaves you with so much to think about, because the song's called No Complaints, right? So it's almost like he's saying, all right, this is good enough. Like, I've been going through it, and I'm at a point now where I guess I'm still going through it, but it's not as bad as before. So who am I to complain? Like, even though I forgot how to cry and I'm on all this medication, and I had got no space left on the paper, and I can't feel the pain anymore. So I guess that's better than before, right? I saw the end. It looked just like the middle, which that is a line that I'm still trying to comprehend in the best way. I know there's something there, but it's not fully making sense to me. But I enjoy that. I enjoy lines like that, because it's gonna, on a fifth, sixth listen, I'm just gonna sit there and hear it, and I'm gonna be like, oh my fucking god, that's what he meant. You know, I saw the end. It looked just like the middle. It's almost like this life experience that he's going through. You look for the writing on the wall and a solution and resolution, light at the end of the tunnel, right, as they say, and you finally see it, but it's no different than what you're still going through. It's just another version of what you're going through. So the end is the middle. So it's kind of like, does it ever get better? And it's almost like it's the song where he sounds like it is getting a little better, because he sewed the hole, he mended the hole that he made before, but there's still problems. Damn, no, I can't believe that you write like this. It is incredibly thought-provoking, and it makes me not. It's almost like each piece is its own journal entry, and it feels wrong to just move on from these songs. I don't want to just go from. I don't want to leave Your Needs, My Needs. I don't want to leave Dial Drunk. I still want to figure out Paul Revere. I definitely don't want to move on from No Complaints. It just feels wrong, but we have to. Call Your Mom, track 19.
On the line, you the entire night. till you let it out and let it in. Don't let this darkness fool you. All lights turned off can be turned on. I'll drive all night. I'll call your mom. Oh dear, don't be discouraged.
Yeah.
I've been
Yeah. I love that line. I love the don't be discouraged. I've been exactly where you are, because this is Noah reflects often on past him in songs, and a song that exists so presently like this is so important because you see the growth in Noah and where he's gotten to, and he's gotten to a place where he can help others. He can take his painful experiences and use them to help others, and that's exactly what's happening in this song. I'm so glad that we get a song like this that isn't a song that comes from a place of healing and trying to help someone else heal through empathy and understanding, and just being there as a support and a comfort. I know that something like this is incredibly important to fans that listen to something like this too.
I've been exactly where you are. I'll drive all night. I'll call your mom. Meditate, sway your soul, Jesus. Throw a punch, fall in love, give yourself a reason.
I've got a punching bag in my garage, and every so often I gotta go in there and just let it out. Meditate, throw them punches if you need to. Fall in love, give yourself a reason just to live. Give yourself a reason just to be, to go on.
Meditate, save your soul for Jesus. Throw a punch, fall in love, give yourself a reason.
Love that I'll drive all night, because we don't have to just mean a car, right? It just means like I'll take over. I'm here for you. You know, I'll take the wheel of this thing called life for you for a bit here, and take some responsibility for you. And it says earlier on over here, you don't want to drive another mile without knowing you're breathing. Like, you got to be present, and you gotta just know that you're even existing. You're probably so overwhelmed that you're beyond the point of like, hey, breathing techniques, right, for anxiety. Look them up, they're really helpful. Next up here is You're Gonna Go Far.
The only time I got to praying for a red light is when I saw your destination as a deadline. It's just normal conversation.
Noah.
Babe, it's all fine.
No. All right, come on, man. Don't start the song off like that. Don't do that to me. Don't do that to my brain, man. My brain only goes at a certain speed. The only time I got to praying for a red light was when I saw your destination as a deadline. Bro, what does that mean? Hoping for a red light because I just want to savor the moment, sort of thing? That is bars. My guy's dropping bars right here.
Making quiet calculations where the fall lies. It's as good a land, or at least it was. It takes a strong hand.
Damn.
And a sound mind.
So, making quiet calculations where the fault lies.
Good a land, or at least it was. It takes a strong hand and a sound mind.
Is this the conversation he's having? It's normal conversation. It's all good.
It makes me smile to know when things get hard. Ooh, you'll be far. Ooh, you'll be far from here.
Oh, I like
That
this.
white clean shit up in the yard. Ooh, you'll be far. Ooh, you'll be far, far from here.
Yeah, so he talks often about trying to, getting away. He talked about it in Paul Revere, right? Leaving this place behind. And now he's in a song where someone else is leaving the place behind, and he's not feeling any sort of, he's just like, he's happy for them. I'll clean up shit in the yard. You'll be far from here. But it makes me smile to know that when things are hard over here and we're just sort of in our rut of like, man, I can't believe we're in this home. We're in this place that we're in. I'll like sit here and smile that I know you got away at least.
That's the thing about survival. Who the hell likes living just
Oh, that's survival, yeah. Wow.
Told me you would make a difference if you wanna go far.
This is great music, man.
Then you gotta go far.
This are the arrangements, the instruments, his vocals, everything just is put together so well. Even if you take all the meaning aside, which is obviously so heavy in itself, it's just great music. I mean, I've had such a great time listening to this album, Stick Season, and to add more just great songs, just listenable songs beyond their context, is such a damn accomplishment. I mean, he did it again. These songs are a direct extension of Stick Season, it feels like. And so often bonus tracks feel so isolated from an album, and that's not what this is at all. It literally just feels like a full-on extension of the project. And I appreciate that so much, because it's like just took the project and extended it. And how blessed are all of us to just get a longer version of Stick Season, which was already absolutely immaculate. He just added 7 more diary entries onto it. And that's what these are, man. These are just more diary entries, incredibly honest, vulnerable pieces of work. And Noah just continues to even get better, because there's some even better parts. Some of these songs and some of the parts of these songs are even better than some of the stuff I heard on Stick Season as a whole. And that's saying a lot, because I have a lot of adoration for that project. You can tell that he's putting even more work in as a songwriter and song maker. There's some vocal things that he's doing in these songs that wasn't happening on Stick Season. He's improving as a vocalist. He's taking risks and chances with some musicality, really perfecting that country folk sound, not putting himself into a box either at the same time. But yeah, man, I'm still absorbing the original album, so now to just give me more of these diary entries with incredible honesty on here, and you're taking an even bigger journey into Noah Kahan's mental health and just great songwriting. It's gonna be an even longer journey for me with absorbing the extended version of this album, and I'm grateful for that. This is a guy that I'm become a quick big fan of, and I'm looking out for as far as what he drops in the future, and just what this human being does, period, because these are the types of human beings that we've really got to hold on to and look out for. So yeah, really glad we got to do this, guys, and thanks for hanging out with me. Hello, everybody. We're here to check out Lewis Capaldi's newest album, Broken by Desire to be Heavenly Sent. I am pretty pumped to get into this one. I really enjoyed Lewis's first projects. He's a very vulnerable artist that on the surface has like this really comedic like approach to just life and the way he carries himself. But I find that doubly interesting because when you get into the music, it is so heartbreaking, sad often, and then of course the powerhouse vocals constantly behind all these songs. Of course, always a fan of the way he names his titles, and even some of these songs names too, like Haven't You Ever Been in Love Before, I have my eyes on big time as far as the track list goes, just as far as the name of a track. But this is just a really clever artist, and like I said before, really vulnerable artist. I really appreciate that about him. I will say I saw him live recently, and he sang 2 of these songs, I believe, live. I don't remember which one, so just putting it out there that I've heard a couple of these songs only in their live version. Other than that, I have not listened to the recorded version of any of these songs, not even the singles. So let's experience these songs together for the first time, guys. All right, the first track is Forget Me.
Days aching, nights are long, 2 years and still you're not gone.
Oh.
Guess I'm still holding on.
That's smooth. Okay, I was not ready for that. I wasn't ready for a boom, here are the vocals, and smooth instrumental as well. That's really, really nice. It's only 10 seconds in. It's so nice already.
Days aching, nights are long, 2 years and still you're not gone. Guess I'm still holding on. Drag my name through the dirt. Somehow it doesn't hurt though.
That dirt hurt rhyme, the way he sings it down here.
Cause I'm not ready to find out you know how to forget me.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I heard the song live. I remember him belting This part of the song here, it comes across live even more powerful than it does in the track. I actually appreciate the track version because it is a little bit more restrained. It feels like it's obviously recorded, so it's got a different feel to it, and it's got a smoother feel to it. And I really just enjoyed the instrumentation of this song a lot. There's not much to not like on this one so far. And pray to God that you never met me. I love that pause. That pause is nice. Even after all this time, days aching, nights are gray. Guess I still feel the same. This is really good. I like this a lot. And then he comes and sings it like this. 'Cause I'm not ready to find out you know how to forget me. That's so sad. That's so sad. That's so sad. I'm not ready to find out you know how to forget me. Oh my God, that's so sad. And I mean, a lot of us have been there before. That's a real specific feeling. Like, I'm not ready for that specific feeling. We've all like very specifically felt that. I love that he's able to vocalize and like write that feeling. It's hard to write a feeling sometimes. The whole like can't put it into words thing is so real. But he does a good job at doing that, especially with these sad songs. Even after all, it's still it's so good. To find out you know how to forget me. I'd rather hear how much you regret me. God, he's singing. And pray to God that you never met me. Man, when he hits that regret. Oh, I hate to know I made you cry, but love to know I crossed your mind, babe. I really like that song. And it's like the big single, isn't it? Yeah, it's got the most streams. I mean, it's got the sound of a single too. It kind of has the sound of, it's like it's got this classic Lewis Capaldi sound, but also I feel like he did more with the instrumentation in this song than I've heard him do on the stuff from his last project. So I just appreciate that growth already. I saw he's a producer on the song, so shout out to him for that. You start off the album with a bang. Starting off with your big banger like that is brave, because it's kind of like, all right, do we only go down from here, you know, like, which isn't a bad thing per se. It's just like you set the bar so high and to never hit it again. Not that we're not going to hit it again. It's just brave to do that. But maybe that's just also how it worked out. All right, let's jump to the next song. I really enjoy that song. Wish You the Best is track 2. What's that lyric? Do you think you can tell me everything, darling? But leave out every part about him. You want that selective storytelling. Can you tell me everything but leave out every part about him, though? You want that selective storytelling because that's all you can handle. Right now you're probably by the ocean. Wow. While I'm still out here in the rain. But oh my love, I wanna say I miss the green in your eyes. And when I said we could be friends, guess I lied. I wanna say I wish that you never left. Oh, but instead I only wish you the best. Okay, now that he's at the chorus of this song, he also sang this song live. It's kind of incredible. So that show for me was not yesterday. It was like a month ago, maybe. So I haven't heard this song other than the one time I heard him sing it live, and yet I can remember him singing this chorus. There's something about the way that he sings his choruses, the way that they're structured, the way they sound, that you only got to hear him once. Adele's also really good at that. Him and Adele are both like masters at that, which makes sense. I feel like there's a lot of similarities between the two of them musically, and in a sad way as well with the content of their music. It's just incredible how I can remember so specifically what this chorus sounds like. A lot of it is reliant on his vocal as well. I mean, he's just the kind of singer that you hear sing, and it's just ingrained into your mind what he sounds like, what he was singing when you heard him sing. I wanna say I wish that you never left. Oh, but instead I only wish you the best. Man, that's also so real. I want to say that I wish you never left, but instead I say I only wish you the best. When you're in that point of like saying goodbye to this person that means so much to you, you know how you feel, but you can't put that on them. You can't say all these things to them because this is a goodbye. And instead you just sort of let them off easy. You let yourself off easy, really, is what you're doing too.
I guess that I should tell you I'm sorry. It seems I was the problem somehow.
Ouch.
Maybe I only brought you down.
That's a sad realization. That's a tough realization. His vocals, I'm gonna probably shout out his vocals so many times. I think I did the same thing in the first album we listened to by him. I'm sure I did. So that ends. Both of the first tracks were singles. Interesting way to like structure your album. That never happens. So now I'm really curious to see what the rest sounds like. The rest of the songs, I believe he only did 2 songs from the new album, because the new album wasn't out yet when I saw him live. So he only did the singles. I think it's those 2, and I don't think I know the rest. So we got 10 new tracks to me. And let's do that. Pointless is the next one.
I'll bring her coffee in the morning. She brings me in a piece.
That's so Ed Sheeran.
I take her out to fancy restaurants.
So Ed Sheeran.
She takes the sadness out of me. I'll make her cards on her birthday.
It's ridiculous. Ed Sheeran is a writer on this. It's ridiculous how recognizable Ed is. It's so fucking Ed Sheeran, the opening of this song.
I know when she's lost, and she knows when I feel alone.
Oh, I like that. I know when she's lost.
From all my airs and graces to the little things I do, everything is pointless without you.
Wow, this is beautiful. I got goosebumps. Oh my gosh.
There's only one I choose. Everything is pointless without you.
This is big. I got goosebumps, but really it's because of Lewis's voice and then singing such a hard cutting line. Everything is pointless without you. It's so poignant and straight to the heart. It hits you right in the gut. This is basically perfect, though. This is basically Ed Sheeran's Perfect. I mean, I feel like he would have had to like go to Ed if he wrote the song and be like, hey, by the way, this sounds like Perfect, just letting you know. But Ed wrote it, so it's all right. Ed basically wrote Perfect 2.0 with different lyrics.
When it's cold out and she lights up the room.
Well, they're still together though, right? Maybe. Oh, what's funny is I assumed this was like a heartbreak song, and it's not. I'm just so used to that with Lewis. I'm used to automatically assuming this song is about heartbreak. That's not where we're at in the song. They're actually still together, but he's projecting heartbreak. He's like, everything's pointless without you. Lewis, you still got them. That's all right. Don't even go there mentally. You just sabotage yourself, man.
Love when she laughs for no reason, and her love's the reason I'm here. She knows when I'm hurt, and I know when she's feeling scared.
I like that part.
Everything is pointless without you.
Lewis wrote a wedding song? He's in his bag on this one. It's a beautiful love song. That's really what it comes down to. He wrote a wedding song. I know this is gonna get used at somebody's wedding, and Ed Sheeran's kind of the master at that, so it makes sense that Ed's writing on it. All right, next track is Heavenly Kind of State of Mind.
When I'm with you, it's like nothing else. Like I could run and tell the devil to go fuck himself.
Yeah, it's confidence.
If it means I'm by your side, it would be such a heavenly way to say goodbye. Whether you were heaven sent to save me from above, or the only one who doesn't hate me, that's enough. Now I think about you all of the time.
It's feel good. It's feel good. I'll be honest. This I think I like where that's going. This has like clean the house music, clean that house to it. feel, like turn this on and clean the house to it type of vibe. And then you're like grabbing your, and that's not an insult, I mean, like, you're like grabbing your broom mid clean, you're like singing into your broom like it's a microphone when the chorus comes on. It's kind of got that vibe to it. First like third, I wasn't sure how I was gonna end up feeling about it. Still feeling it out. I was worried that I wouldn't end up really feeling it overall, but that's not what ended up happening. As the song went all along, I ended up appreciating how upbeat it was and how feel good it was. And I'm never gonna hate on an upbeat feel good song that's got its shit together. It's tightly well produced and it's got a vocal like Lewis on it. So I think that's part of the allure of him and what makes it hard to like really have a bad song by him. I feel like I didn't have that experience on the first album of like catching more than like a song or two where I was completely disinterested. So yeah, it's just a huge advantage he has. All right, the song I was looking at before we got into this, Haven't You Ever Been in Love Before?
Will you hold me like you want me, but you don't give me nothing else? And she said this, haven't you ever been in love before? You heard him say it takes the pain away, but it's more like a knife to me than a hide to me, and my heart can't fall apart anymore. If you knew what I knew, you'd be terrified. Haven't you ever been in love before?
Oh, I like the different perspectives lyrically. Strings and piano in this make it feel so soundtrack. Like I feel like this is meant to be in rom-com, or just not even maybe rom-com, but just romance film, and we're at the climactic point of the film where you need the romantic song to come in, and this kind of was what comes in.
If you knew what I knew, you'd be terrified. Haven't you ever been in love before?
He's speaking as someone that has been in love and understands the pain of it. Oh, you know what the song sounds like? It sounds like a Louis Capaldi song. It sounds like some, I guess I'm kind of used to being someone you love in the day, and the night falls, and you know I ain't through it all. I don't know the words like that, but you guys know what song I'm talking about. Somebody to Love. That's what the song's called, right? It sounds like that song, kind of.
And she said this, haven't you ever been in love before?
Sounds just like that song, kind of. Guess I'm used to being someone you love. I'm fucking up the word so bad. I just don't know off the top of my head. No, I guess that's kind of an inevitability with him though, because he is very systematic in the way he makes his songs. It's very, verse, chorus, bridge, close the song with the chorus. He doesn't really veer outside of that too often. But it works because, again, the songs are so relatable lyrically and his voice is just so amazing. And yeah, it's just really, Adele's kind of like that too. I don't want to compare them too much. Adele did less of that on 30, actually. 30 was incredibly unique and she took a lot of risks. So pre-30, I would say. But Lewis is also early in his career. But it's also working for him too, so why change it? If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? Love the Hell Out of You, track 6. Track 5 was just big soundtrack vibes to me. Like I was kind of picturing like a Disney film or like a big romantic film, and the song's playing, and there's like kind of an issue going on between these two, falling in love, but this person's been hurt a lot, and the other person's trying to figure out the love as it's happening. All right, Love the Hell Out of You, track 6.
You got your demons, spend seasons on the dark side of the moon. Don't try denying, cause you know that I've been there too.
The beginning, I'm sorry guys. The beginning of this gave me the Noah sounds like I'm in the business of losing your interest. Come over. Sounds like the beginning of Come Over. I've been listening to that album so much, by the way.
You got your demons, spend seasons on the dark side of the moon.
Spent seasons on the dark side of the moon. That's great writing.
Don't try denying, cause you know that I've been there too.
We both suffer with this depression. Okay, you got me, Lewis, on this one.
But I'll get you through.
Yeah, I'm all in so far.
If it's the last thing I do.
I love that relating through our issues.
I'm gonna love the head out of you. Take all the pain that you're going through. I'll bring you heaven.
Oh, I like
if that's what you need, 'cause you've always loved.
Oh, he's doing things with his voice on this one. I'm gonna love the hell out of you. You've always loved the hell out of me. I'm gonna bring you heaven.
Resounding techniques for my grounding when I.
Whoa, what's that? Whoa, what did he just say about grounding techniques? This is really clever lyrically. I like this a lot.
You brought resounding techniques for my grounding when I.
You brought resounding techniques for my ground. That's amazing writing, and he's staying on the mental health subject because grounding techniques are important for anybody. I've been through this with my therapist so often. We've been going through grounding techniques for months now, different ones that apply to different situations, and I've been using all of them depending on the situation. So I love how open he is about this on this track. By the way, it's beautiful for people like myself, like the millions of people who are listening to these songs that struggle with their mental health. That's clearly what the song's about, and I love how specific he's being about that, and that he's able to share this with another person as well, because it's a display of the fact that we really aren't alone in this struggle. That's one of my favorites on the album so far.
Some solace from all this exhaustion and monsters of mine.
My monsters, this exhaustion.
So you better know.
This is great writings. Find solace from the monsters.
Bring you home. I'm gonna love heaven. If that's what you need, the hell out of me.
I really like that song. It's probably my favorite song on the album, I think. I really like Forget Me. Forget Me was my favorite so far. This is not my favorite song. It's too mental health specific, and sharing that with another person, the beauty of that, and being there for each other through such a tough situation. Yeah, and the way he's singing it too, it's so well written and so well. Every song is so well sung. But he did some things vocally on there too that were different than what he's been doing on these tracks leading up to it. That's my favorite song on the album so far. Yeah, that's the one. Halfway through, let's see if we can top that one. But I don't know, man. It's gonna be tough, especially with what he was talking about on there. Burning, track 7.
Can't even begin to explain this all too well familiar pain. It comes and it goes, but it gets in my bones all the same. Can't set fire to my soul just to keep you from burning alone. Our salvation slipping further away. Can't set fire to my soul just to keep you from burning alone.
See, this is another instance of, and it was fine when on Haven't You Ever Been in Love Before, I think it was, or Heavenly State of Mind, I don't recall. The song that sounded like Somebody to Love. This one sounds a little bit like, I think it's Grace. You're grace, you're great. Something. I'm not ready to be just another of your mistakes. That song, and it's just a little. It's not like carbon copy. It's just reminiscent of it a little bit for me, and it's kind of like where I get the little bit of the feeling of, like Lewis's third project. I'm already projecting towards his third project where I'm like, I feel like he'll have to do something a little bit different, just to get those kinds of things out of my head. And I only mean that in the way of the way that he approaches music is so consistent And I think that that's been a really great thing for these first two projects, again, just because his writing is so relatable in that way. I never want that to stop. I don't want his writing to change. I guess it would just be the stylistic approach he takes with his music. But yeah, this isn't even a bad song. This is actually, I think, a pretty good song. It's just too reminiscent of other Lewis Capaldi songs for me, and particularly Grace, if that's what that song's called. You guys know what song I'm talking about. That I just wouldn't find myself revisiting it super often, and that's not how I really felt about the other songs, even though the one song again did sound a little bit like Somebody to Love. All right, anyways, Any Kind of Life, track 8. Let's do it.
Hope, have you something that I can borrow? 'Cause I've been so low, and the weight of all the world's a heavy load. Keep me going till tomorrow. Well, my lungs don't breathe, and my heart don't beat, and I can't believe in any kind of life without you.
Oh, that's probably the biggest note on the album. Damn, Lewis.
'Cause it feels so wrong. No, I just don't want any kind of life without you, dear.
Damn, Lewis.
Are there any?
Yeah, I liked that one, and then the chorus came and he started doing just unreal notes, and he was belting as big as I feel like I've ever heard him. But and he consistently belts real big, but there was like a slight extra, centimeter of oomph on that one. I don't know, like that felt like the biggest note that I've heard from him. Emphasis on big. And that just like threw me off because of how big I thought he didn't have another level to go already vocally than I've already heard from him. But I leave it to Lewis to just sing me into oblivion. All right, The Pretender is track 9.
I will play the part if you say so. Yeah, I'll be anybody but me.
Oh.
To tell you the truth,
Yeah.
I'm a mess, I'm a fool, you don't know that. I spent almost all of my time feeling like I'm falling even further behind. And I know I'm so good at teaming, like I'm not on the edge of a knife. I'm the pretender, what can I tell you? So tell me who you want me to be.
That's so sad. Wow. Damn, Lewis.
Always found it easy to fake it. Yeah, I'll be anybody but me.
Wow.
To tell you the truth, I'm the fraud in the room, and I know that.
And to tell you the truth, I'm the fraud in the room, and I know that I wear a million faces. I'm a pretender. I'll be anybody but me. I mean, this is so clear what he's trying to get across here, and that I really love that. I feel like I said something like this, but I just gotta re-emphasize. I really love the way he writes, man, because there's no question as to what he's ever talking about. He comes out with it. He doesn't try and blanket it. He doesn't try and hide, sort of code what he's saying because he's afraid to let you know. Like, we all can very much understand what he's talking about in all these songs, and I really appreciate that about him and his writing. And this is a song that's super vulnerable, super open, somebody that's just putting on a mask all the time to please others, but it's at the expense of him. Like he said, he's constantly on the knife, and nobody would even know because he's just constantly putting on a facade. Man, that's just so sad and exhausting too.
But you never will in my mind. It's instilled not to show that.
That's also big, like, class clown comedian energy in general too, like, because he's so clearly like he's pretty much a comedian, and that energy often comes from comedian. Like, comedians have real dark sides, and they'll do anything for a laugh, like anything, and that is like the people pleaser in them, and at the same time it's just like also their mask, their comedy is their mask from all the darkness that they really are going through. And Lewis has got a ton of darkness that he's going through, and he uses like this mask of comedy and of making people laugh and bringing joy to others, while meanwhile he's not feeling that joy himself. It's just like a real interesting complexity, man, that a lot of comedians have, and I think Lewis falls in that category. But then obviously he's also got this other outlet in music that I'm glad he has, that he can get all this shit off his chest.
I spent almost all of my time feeling like I'm falling even further behind. I know I'm so good at seeming like I'm not on the edge of a knife.
Yeah, that's contender for saddest song on the album, along with Love the Hell Out of You, which was also real sad, but at least there was like some, no, this has got to be the saddest song on the album, because at least Love the Hell Out of You had like a mutual like assistance of each other, like we're gonna be there for each other, I'm gonna be there for you. Like The Pretender is just fucking real sad, because it's just him on this island alone and no one's understanding him or seeing him. He's got to like put it in the song to sort of reach out and let people know like, hey, I'm struggling here, I'm on the edge of the knife, like the edge of a breakdown, really, the edge of I can't really I don't even know how much longer I can do this. It's kind of some of the energy I get from that too. It's got to be an exhausting way to live, to not be able to just be your true self, constantly masking. Just saddest song on the album. It gets the award for it. All right, Leave Me Slowly, track 10.
2 heartbeats, never in time. 2 lovers over enemy lines.
This is different.
I know we're broken, but don't wanna believe it. If I could go back to that evening we met, trembling hands as I'd ask for your number again. You saw me different then. If you're gonna leave me, just leave me slowly. Let's make it last, just one more dance before the moment.
So old school. Reminds me of, it's an older song. It reminds me of, it feels inspired by the older song. It has like an old school vibe to it. I don't know if I'm gonna get it.
Leave me lonely. If you're gonna leave me, just leave me slowly.
I like this. I like this. Oh yeah, this is different. See, I'm in a different world here. Max Martin. Okay, checks out.
Just leave me slowly. So baby, if you leave me.
You know what's funny is that this has a little bit of that 1989 energy on it. I saw Max Martin's a writer on it. It's got a little bit of that 1989 energy to it. I really feel like it does, and I think that's why it feels so different from, like I said, I feel like I'm in a different world. This feels a little bit of a difference from some of the Louis Capaldi music I've heard prior to this track, and I like that. I'm totally all for living in a different world. Change it up. That's what we did here on Leave Me Slowly. It feels like a totally different musical world, and I'm so here for that. Yeah, it's one of my favorite tracks on the album. It's one of my top, as of now, it's one of my top 4 tracks on the album out of the 10 that we've heard. So good stuff on that one. I kind of want to hear that one again right now, which is good. That's how I kind of judge if it's one of my favorites on the album or not. Like, do I want to hear it again right now? The answer is yes. Okay, How This Ends is track 11.
On all that I am and all that I'm not, 'cause I'm fucking useless and full of excuses. Forevermore, the house is on fire and I can't find the door. If I had the heart to start it again, I'd stamp out the sparks in my own self-defense.
Whoa, that's some nice lyrics. I love that. If the house was on fire, I can't. It's like this is what it feels like. The house is on fire and I can't find the door. Is that what he said? Yeah, the house is on fire and I can't find the door. If I had the heart to start it again, I'd stamp out the sparks in my own self-defense. What pen? Oh, if I had the heart to start again, I'd stamp out the sparks in my own self-defense, self-preservation, protect yourself. Like how this ends, right? This is ending not well. If I could start all over again, I'd stamp the sparks out in my own self-defense, which directly correlates with the previous line about the house being on fire. Sparks start the fire. Genius writing right there. That deserves a pen flip.
How we blend, yeah, we blend, yeah, we blend.
Damn. I mean, Louis Capaldi rock album is not far off. Honestly, what he's doing on this track.
The house is on fire and I can't find the door. If I had the heart to start it again, I'd stamp out the sparks in my own self-defense.
That fucking line, man. My favorite line on the album. It's gotta be that whole can't find the door. The house is on fire. Can't find the door. I'd stamp out the sparks, my own self-defense. It's unbelievable writing. I really like that song. Yeah, I ended up really liking that song. It was another one where the first third I was like, but then I was like, whoa, okay, I actually really like this. A lot of things were happening in that song that I feel like we're constantly changing. Track How I'm Feeling Now, track 12, let's do it.
Suppose I thought that by this moment I would have it figured out, but instead I tend to spend my days consumed by seeds of doubt. I know I can't.
Consumed by seeds of doubt, yeah.
I won't.
Yeah. I mean, he's talked about that.
It goes on and on and on. Always forever till I'm barely holding on. So here's to my beautiful life that seems to leave me so unsatisfied. No sense of self, but self-obsessed.
Oh.
I'm always trapped inside my fucking head. On and on and on.
No sense of self, but self-obsessed, Louis.
I know I can, I won't.
This is a little bit alt, a little tiny bit like punk alt, a little bit too. I'm appreciating the change up towards the end of the album, these last 3 tracks.
That seems to leave me so unsatisfied. No sense of self, but self-obsessed. I'm always trapped inside my fucking head. On and on and on, on and on and on. I'm always trapped inside my fucking head. On and on.
I'm always trapped inside my fucking head. Fuck, man. Fuck. Yeah. I mean, love the hell out of you, The Pretender. How I'm feeling now, I'm always trapped inside my fucking... Yeah, this has been a consistent theme with him here, and he's so open about it. I'm so here for that.
I'm feeling now.
Man, that track was like straight from like that like 2000s early to mid 2000s pop rock alt sound like that you'd get with the acoustics going on and all that, and the angsty vocals and all that too, and some pretty depressive lyrics. He like went straight into that bag, and I'm really glad that he did, because I really like that as a closer, number one, because he's addressing his mental health, he's addressing how he's feeling and the struggle that he's going through, which recaps again some other tracks that he went on in the album. Of course, he stayed consistent with there actually are a few tracks on here that are a bit happier than the last album, a bit more optimistic, can I say? Which I did not expect, but there's still a ton of sadness all over this. So we still have consistent Louis. I really enjoyed a lot of these tracks. A few of them really stood out to me strongly. Louis is really consistent. One thing that I was feeling for like the first 3/4 of the album, some repetition in the sounds of the songs across his 2 albums. And it was the first time I really felt like that listening to Louis ever. So I guess that was worrying me a little bit, even though I was still enjoying a lot of the songs. But then like these last 3 tracks have such a different sound from everything else that it kind of changed the game for me. It kind of made me look at this album in a whole different way. And I mean, he came through with what he always comes through with, and that's incredible vocal. I mean, I feel like his vocals on this album were actually even better than the first project, which is saying a lot, because he's got such a classic vocal already that we come to expect. And for him to come through with like trying different vocal things on here and pushing even harder than I've ever heard him push, I feel like is saying a lot. So shout out to him for that. The songwriting that's so relatable, so honest to and vulnerable. He came with that as well and let us into his mind, which I also really appreciate. So just a really, really great project, man. I'll give you guys my favorite tracks on the album. There's 12. I'll go half. I'll give you guys my top 6 songs on this album are Forget Me, Pointless, Love the Hell Out of You, Leave Me Slowly, How This Ends and How I'm Feeling Now. That last 3-track run was fantastic. Love That I Love You might still be my favorite song on the album. I don't know. But How I'm Feeling Now, I might keep revisiting that one. That might be like one of those ones that ends up being my favorite song of the year. I don't know. It's kind of got that slow burn feel to it. So we'll see. Forget Me is like an absolute standout, but it's also like the huge big single. But that shouldn't take away from how great that song is. The song is amazing. Thanks for hanging out with me, guys. This is an absolute blast, and so much respect to Lewis for being so open again and so vulnerable. You guys know how much like that means to me personally, so I gotta shout that out for Lewis, and I'll see you guys next time.